Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. We have the Seattle zombie woman and internet mystery. Have you ever heard about this? I never heard about this, but this is one of Nick's video. We went down, tried to see something that would be interesting, like because you know what I'm saying. But not saying none of it would be interesting. Last week's video was very interesting. What was last week's video? See,
Okay, I don't remember.
You know, but it's all good. It's all good. Everybody got a lot going on in life. You can't remember everything, but you know, I just know you don't remember. So with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you have to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
like it in with a thumbs up.
But let's go, man. Let's check it out. Let's see what's about. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Returning to the state of Washington is always a new adventure for me. I want to share with you the sights and sounds of this beautiful northwest corner of our nation.
May 5th, 2021, a disturbance is reported alongside a popular roadway in Seattle, Washington, drawing heavy police presence to the area. According to witnesses on the scene, a woman had been spotted limping down the street, wailing in agony, while holding an unknown object in her hand. The woman was acting incredibly erratic and appeared to be seriously injured, though despite this, it had apparently taken as many as 8 police officers to subdue and restrain her. And this was far from the most chilling detail, with that being in the woman's appearance, as onlookers would go on to claim that there was something off about her face. It was unnatural, almost zombie-like. The story began as whispers among the community, with brief mentions being made across the web, though not many would take these posts seriously. As to outsiders, this seemed to be yet another internet hoax, or perhaps just some kind of extreme overreaction. But in reality, this was a very real scene that played out that evening, and one that was about to be put on display for the whole world to see, as the first video would quickly emerge, thrusting this case into an international spotlight and giving birth to an internet mystery known today as the Seattle Zombie Woman. The video immediately took the world by storm, as it showed a woman with a ghostly pale face, with half her head shaven, as she limps across the street wearing only one shoe, and with each step she takes, she seems to yell in pain, before the video quickly cuts. In her hand appears to be the mysterious object, which the uploader of the video claimed to be a fanny pack, and disturbingly, it appeared to be soaked in blood, along with many other parts of the woman's body. In terms of context, there wasn't much, as despite the video going viral across the site, information on this individual dubbed the Seattle Zombie Woman was practically non-existent. According to the uploader, police had arrived and intervened just after the recording had stopped, in that it had taken a full team of officers to ultimately restrain her and eventually take her away, likely to get some form of treatment, though they admit that they weren't sure what happened from there, or, just as importantly, what had led to this moment. Though interestingly enough, despite the fact that the answers were not emerging, other recordings certainly were. On the same day, this...
What you think going on?
At first I was like, maybe it's just somebody like...
Drugs.
Yeah, maybe they got a hold of something, or...
Typically, that'd be the first thing come to mind is a drug situation.
Because, like, what are we doing?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you're not just doing this for fun.
Or did she? But no, that doesn't explain the bald head.
Yeah.
And she just couldn't just take something that, Because that's still... And then it don't look like she shaved her head bald. It look like she might shave some, but pull the rest. Because it looked very, like, irritated. A little bit.
I mean, it's kind of hard to really make out.
A little bit.
Right?
A little bit.
Infamous TikTok was posted, another clip would be posted to YouTube by a separate user, seemingly showing a different angle of the same event, with this version being significantly longer. Here, we get a better angle of the woman's face, as it appears completely abnormal, with her eyes and lips appearing to be pitch black, which is a dramatic contrast to her pale complexion. All in all, she looks sickly, and appears to be acting completely unhinged. Near her, multiple cops are seen attempting to calm her down, though she just continues walking and screaming, even escaping their grasp at the end of the video, while continuing her erratic behavior. From there, it's assumed that the struggle continued before finally coming to an end sometime later, which was showcased in yet another video posted to TikTok. And it's in this clip where the mystery takes a far darker turn, as we can hear the lady say her first discernible words. The video shows the woman begging the officers not to take her to the hospital, pleading as if her life depended on it, and it only gets stranger and even more tragic as she begins pleading with them not to take her baby. This may seem like a random one-off comment, until you realize that the object in her hand had seemingly changed. Even though the footage is pretty hard to decipher, it seems as though that bloody fanny pack that she had been holding in the original clip was no longer in her possession, and instead, she appears to be holding something entirely different. This object has been the source of great speculation, as the blurry video makes it hard to definitively identify, though some, including myself, seem to think that it closely resembles a baby, and more specifically, the head of a baby. This was the last...
Low key does. But we would have seen more blood and stuff dripping. You get what I'm saying?
I'm so like, what?
Like, I just want the answers.
I'm just so confused. I'm like, wait, where did you...
Whatever it was, it does look like the little wrapping.
Mm-hmm.
It could, like, what is it, swaddling cloth? Like a swaddling cloth, it could have been one of those. And it did look like it was possibly covered in a lot of blood. And that could have been what it was.
Or has she been maybe like held captive somewhere?
But I would just say I doubt it's a baby head, because I'm sure we would have seen some.
Well, I'm talking about her, like her situation. Like, where have you been all
I think
this
it's
time?
drugs, though.
Yeah, it could be that as well. But I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to figure out where she came from. Where did you come from?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And she got blood and stuff all over it. And
like, I don't know why. I don't
her
know
face
if
looks sunken in, like she hasn't been eating.
Yeah, I thought half of it was gone. The way I'm looking,
but
at
it's shot from
I know.
From far,
you know my eyes not good,
and it looks like a low quality camera.
Yeah.
So the footage is very grainy, so it's not giving us that sharp contrast that we need to be able to say, hey, that because if you shooting it from a far range with a grainy video, because it could have been further away and they could have zoomed in, and which will make it even more grainier.
Yeah, true.
We're not gonna get that reddish color. We're getting more blacker color.
I know, right? So that's why it's making me think that.
But the eyes look, and then the cheeks look something.
Yeah, it definitely looks.
And it did look like the face. I don't know. But I think they'll be more alarmed if her face was
right. That's why I said I'm pretty sure that's not what it is. It's just what my eyes seen.
we would receive from the incident, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and overwhelming concern for the woman shown in the clips. Though despite the popularity of this case and all the questions put forth, the answers never came. Bizarrely, no official statement would be made by the Seattle PD, despite their officers being shown in this viral video. And on top of this, despite the story being picked up by a few news stations, no official conclusion or clarification would be brought forward. And given the lack of context and the lack of closure, this internet mystery was born, and the theories would quickly spread like wildfire. Right out of the gate, many users would be quick to call this story a fake, believing that this was nothing more than a setup, mainly due to the lack of reporting and also because of the woman's appearance, as given how unnatural she looked, many believed that she was simply wearing a heavy amount of makeup, with some calling her appearance and demeanor almost cartoonish. Plus, if we're being honest, TikTok is completely filled with fabricated stories just like this, leaving many set on this whole situation being fake. However, this actually isn't the case. One of the few updates we've gotten in this case came from the discovery of official police dispatch radio, which was found publicly available on a site known as Broadcastify. There, users would find audio from May 5th in the Seattle area that seemed to depict this exact incident, with the audio being just as chilling as the videos themselves.
3008 16th Avenue West. There's a female walking eastbound on West Barrett Street that has blood running down her face and leg. She's also yelling and limping. She's described as a white female, 20 to 30, 5'5" to 5'7", thin build, with a shaved head and brown patches of hair, wearing a gray t-shirt, blue jeans, and one white shoe. 15th and West Armour Street on the west side, just north of. Send an AMR for an ITA.
The recording seems like an exact match to these videos, from the way the subject is described, all the way to that unmistakable screaming in the background. And this is undoubtedly from the Seattle PD. It came straight from their official police line, meaning that whatever this incident truly was, the police response to it was very real. This note also seems to disprove a long-standing theory that the clips were actually from the set of a movie being filmed in the area, as coincidentally, during this exact time period, there was a major film being produced in Seattle called Kimmy.
On Monday, film crews were spotted in Westlake Center shooting a new HBO movie called Kimmy,
which many had speculated that this was some kind of PR stunt from the project. But given the fact that this was a real police response, and that the film has actually since come out, with there being no mention of any zombies or any similar incidences within it, this is yet another debunked theory. And while on the subject of debunked theories, I want to briefly mention what at one point had actually become the most popular theory surrounding this case, which is honestly incredibly offensive, and that is the claim that
she low-key kind of looks like the woman.
We can't even see what she really look like.
Cheekbones wise, the facial shape wise, I'm saying from a far distance, the head shape wise, along with the cheekbones and the mouth structure, which we was able to see, if you could pick up what I'm putting down, what some people you could be able to distinguish certain things.
I mean, I'm just like, it's hard to see for me to determine what's going on, what she looks like, what's actually, happening, what was actually in her hands. Did we test to see if the blood was actually real
I'm just
blood?
saying that just looks like her. I ain't going into that part yet.
Okay.
But
I'm just saying, it could be. But I'm just saying, it's hard to make out exactly who the person is and what they look like. That's all I'm saying. But, I mean, yeah.
surrounding this case, which is honestly incredibly offensive. And that is the claim that this woman was Marilyn Stanley, a woman who was brutally attacked by her ex-boyfriend and his dog, leading to devastating injuries. And because of her disfigurement, people pointed to her being the Seattle zombie woman, believing that this footage was taken just moments after her assault, However, despite so many people reporting this, it is incredibly easy to disprove, as the Maryland Stanley attack took place in Kentucky, not Seattle, and the assault happened all the way back in 2015, a full year before TikTok was even created, and a full 6 years before this video was filmed. This theory was never a possibility, and one Google search would have shown that, but unfortunately that didn't stop the speculation. And the outlandish theories continued from there, as some would quickly fall off the deep end, believing that this woman truly was a real-life zombie. The theory is obviously very ridiculous, but it was made a bit more intriguing, as around the same time, there were reportedly similar occurrences emerging throughout the world, of individuals looking and behaving in a similar manner. To make things even more curious, this video soon began being removed and censored from both TikTok and YouTube, with only a few versions being left throughout the web. And adding this with the fact that there was no media coverage following this event and no police statements made to the public, despite the situation's virality, it left many convinced that this was some form of a greater cover-up. But ultimately, it's not hard to tell that this theory was just fear-mongering. And at the end of the day, it's a theory that is highly unrealistic, though interesting to speculate. More logically, it's been theorized that this lady had been in some sort of car accident, as she was shown walking alongside a fairly busy road and appeared to almost be in shock, with her potentially having lost her baby in the wreck, adding to the trauma of the moment. But it seems completely unrealistic that if a child had passed away, there would have been no reports about it. I mean, surely this would have brought at least local media coverage, and it definitely would have been mentioned in the police blotter, which it wasn't. And given that no mention of a child was made on the official police recording at the scene, this idea, thankfully, has been ruled out, meaning that this object was likely something entirely different. Though even with this, it still leaves the car accident theory as a very real possibility, as it could explain why she was acting this way, along with her apparent injuries. Along with this possible explanation, there was another theory that I initially thought to be the most plausible, with that being that this was all the result of drugs and/or severe mental illness, which would not only explain her behavior, but also the lack of official reporting, as a woman on drugs causing a scene is nothing all that noteworthy, especially in a major city. And as for her appearance, well, drugs can literally turn people into shells of themselves and make them completely unrecognizable, and her ragged and torn clothing could just be the result of potential homelessness, a fate that sadly befalls far too many people in our society who deal with these very struggles. Though with all this being said, landing on one definitive conclusion was unfortunately impossible based off the limited information.
Did you think possibly like a mental disorder?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can go there.
Did you ever, did that ever cross your mind?
Not necessarily. Since he bring it up, I'm like, yeah, could be. Of course, drugs. We said drugs. But the only thing that's, throwing me, even if it's just, if it's drugs or mental illness, I understand maybe the hair being shaved and stuff like that. But it's the blood for me. If that is blood that's dripping down her leg from what the report, or that's on her clothing and stuff like that.
Maybe she got in a fight or something.
That's the only thing that's kind of throwing me. But then I'm if it was actually something more than just drugs or mental illness, there should have been reports and stuff on it, coverage, news coverage or something.
I would think if it's say for instance she was in a drug thing situation and some type of altercation happened where she was in a fight or something, I still don't think that would have been reported. If she was in a car accident, that would have been reported. Anything like something major would have been reported. A simple domestic battery wouldn't have been reported on. If like he said, if an infant did pass away, would have been reported on, because that would have been a big news, especially local media, if not state media wise. besides drugs, possible mental. But like you did say with the blood situation, that kind of is a toss up. It's just like, but the drug also would the sunken face theory. All right, she's doing drugs most of the day. She's probably not eating much. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that would explain that part. But a lot of stuff about this is very much unexplainable.
Who deal with these very struggles. Though with all this being said, landing on one definitive conclusion was unfortunately impossible based off the limited information available, and despite there being plausible theories put forth, a true answer seemed further away than ever, especially as the months began to pass. But even though the situation began to seem hopeless, a break would soon emerge out of nowhere in the form of police body cam footage that would blow this case wide open. On March 9th, 2022, a YouTube account by the name of Rebecca MS would upload a video revealing her findings into the Seattle zombie woman mystery, as even though the world had seemingly forgotten about this bizarre case, Rebecca had taken it upon herself to find its true conclusion, which led her all the way to the discovery of this footage.
Hey, ma'am! Hey, it's okay! You want to tell us what's going on? Is that real blood or fake blood? It almost looks like fake blood.
I don't think any of this is real blood. It's all just who are.
And then
Their face burnt? No, it's gonna make ours.
it took me a little bit while, but it's like almost like Halloween, like zombie makeup.
The video shows the Seattle zombie woman incident from the perspective of the police on scene, and although this further proves that the response to this incident was in fact real, it also proves that the incident itself was not, as the first responders began to quickly realize that this lady wasn't even injured, and she was instead wearing heavy theatrical makeup with fake blood, leaving the officers and bystanders just as confused as the rest of us. And the biggest revelation to come of all this was the discovery of this individual's true identity, with her real name being Kimberly Kasai, a revelation that would in turn lead to the discovery of her social media profiles, and ultimately the truth behind this internet mystery. Not long after the incident occurred, Kimberly would post this picture in full makeup, matching identically to the Seattle zombie woman, along with the caption, "I am not your lab rat." She would then make a few other posts on Facebook, which revealed that she had carried out this whole stunt as a way to voice her opinions on certain political topics, which I unfortunately can't go more into here. But in the end, despite the police and paramedic presence being very real, this woman, the Seattle zombie woman, was simply acting. This is truly one of the strangest cases that I've seen in a long time, since its theories were so dark and so disturbing, yet in reality, this was nothing more than a bizarre publicity stunt. And in the end, it's obviously a good thing that none of these theories were true, and that no one was injured as a result, making this one of the very few internet mysteries that actually arrived at a definitive, and I guess somewhat satisfying conclusion.
True.
I want to give a huge shout out to my God tier patron members: Alexander Duran, America's Grumpy Uncle, the Zoo.
That's true though. True. I feel that
is crazy.
She deserves some time behind bars though for that.
Because at first I was like, when the first thing with the girl, she was like, she had like maybe a fanny pack on. I was like, you can't. I'm pretty sure no one is doing this for fun. I don't know if you remember me saying it, but I was like, I'm pretty sure no one is doing this for fun. But I mean, technically so. I mean, you're doing it for whatever cause or whatever the case may be. But like, why?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like, of all things, why do that?
True.
You know what I'm saying? But
I'm glad, like, at the end of it, it wasn't
nothing
serious and nothing someone was actually hurt behind or anyone was harmed behind, and that it's just. still, like, you can't do BS like that though. You know, like that don't even.
Especially, and even when they like are like, you know, strapping you down, you still in full like on character. Like, don't take my baby. Like, they like, what baby? Like, what's happening?
So I wonder what happened to her after the fact though. Like, did she get charged with anything? Did she, you know what I'm saying? Cause it's kind of like filing a false police report. Cause you having them come and you got paramedics coming. You got when they can really be responding to something serious.
And you over here in full
character
mode. Like, what are we doing?
Horrible, man. Horrible mindset for certain people. But I understand when you're trying to take a political presence.
Yeah,
definitely. But it's ways to go about it. And I think, you know what I'm saying, it's just that was the wrong way to really get your message across.
Across, yeah.
But some people get too caught up into the mission. And that's example of that. But I'm 100% happy it wasn't anything
like real
serious.
Yeah.
You know?
Like this was just a stunt, whatever, to... okay.
That's crazy, man. But y'all spam us up in the comments, man. Let us know y'all thoughts about it.
Please
down below. But as always, I do go by the name DJ Kid. This is. We are.
Go and get it. Ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me.